On to another engine. So, this is the first and only Commodore Vanderbilt engine I have ever had in my tin plate collection. And these engines usually fetch a very high price. However, I managed to get this engine for free in a set. This was being sold by my good friend, Blank. He's one of the guys that I know at the train show, and he sells a ton of Marx stuff. And he had a Marx circus train that he tried getting sold off for about 2 different shows, and nobody would buy it. And he wanted to sell it for 40 bucks. However, no one would take it, so I promised I would try and sell it for him. And I managed to do that by having it being sold to another guy. He purchased a plastic Marx train set for his kids. However, the plastic Marx stuff, especially the stuff in the late 60s, is very brittle, and it'll break within like 5 minutes of mishandling. I'll just say that much from personal experience. And super glue isn't going to fix it that easily. So what I told him is, look, you should probably have a tin plate set. That will last you a lot more, because he already had the track and the transformer. All he needed was a tin plate train. And the train was a Marx 994, which I've already shown on this channel, I believe. But it had a micromotor in it, so it could only go in one direction forward. It was painted bright yellow, and it had a yellow tender, a slope back tender, kind of like the one that I showed on the 1666, albeit that one, the one that came with that engine is a Marx one, not the one like I showed, which was a Lionel one, but they're the same type of tender. And it was painted bright yellow, and it came with a bright yellow flatbed and 2 bright yellow passenger coaches. And I sold it to the guy for 40 bucks. I gave him some of my train track that I was selling. It was my tubular track, which all of it now I have converted to 2-rail tin plate track. And for anyone who wants to know, that's what it looks like. It doesn't have the 3rd rail put into it, so that way only clockwork trains can run on it. But anyway, as I sold the set, I asked him if I could have one of his sets for free. And he gave me this set with this engine. Now, this Marx Commador Vanderbilt actually has a very rare piece in it. There is a small plate of metal with a flint attached to it. Now, all Marx motors have this little roller on the inside hooked up to their fronts. And what this is it's almost like sandpaper, kind of. But what it does is if you put that piece of metal with the flint in it, it will strike it and it will cause a spark. And what will that do is it'll illuminate both the headlamp and the funnel and make it look like it's puffing out fire, but also it'll give off smoke as well. Now, I'll try to demonstrate that to you guys right now by doing this. If I can get it to. Anyway, this is a bit tricky to do with one hand, but there it is from the funnel. This is what it looks like from the front. Essentially, it's like a very fun lighter, essentially. And when I tried to wind this engine up, I found out that the mechanical system in it, this spring in here, slips. Now, what does that mean? I shall demonstrate. Now, a lot of times when people wind up their wind-up trains, they have a tendency to overwind it, and that's what can cause a slip, and that can be fatal to a clockwork locomotive. That could literally be the end of its working life, unless you know how to repair the ratchet gear joint, which is that piece right there. You can't really see it due to the lighting, but there's a little plate which has these grooves in it, which lock in every time you wind it, like that click. That's what those plates are doing. They've shifted, then they click, and then dig into the holes that are there. Now, if you overwind it, that spring will come jutting out, and it will basically strip itself. Now, I'm going to wind this only 5 times. You can usually wind a Marx motor about 8 to 9 times. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to take the key out and notice the spring is no longer pushing out, but it's been put in. And now I'm going to tick the little lever and it will jolt. Now keep in mind, I've done this about 15 times, so I know that this engine isn't broken. But I am going to have Blank fix the motor, or if he's not able to fix it, I'll probably send it off to Northview Model Railroader, if you guys know who he is. He's a very popular channel on YouTube. He makes a bunch of custom Marx wind-ups, engines, and he does repairs, so he might be able to fix this for me. But here goes nothing. Again, it has look at this syndrome. The one time I want it to show and mess up, it doesn't. But I can tell you this, Blank and my friend Sam have actually witnessed this thing stripping itself by accident, so yeah. But since it's deciding not to play up on me, I guess I can show you guys the wind-up mechanism doing its sparking thing. Well, I guess it doesn't want to do that either right now. How peculiar. But regardless of its condition, I mean, heck, the shell on this thing is amazing. It's almost mint, pretty much, except for these bits right here. They've got some oxide on them, but that can be easily cleaned. The tender is not original, though. That came from a Marx plastic engine wind-up set, so yeah, that's not original from the 1930s like this engine. But yeah, regardless though, I love it and I cherish it, and it's probably the second most valued item in my collection. The first is coming up with the next engine. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you guys later.